Alright, so I'm sure that by now many of you know that I have in fact broken my wrist, and I'm sure that those of you that are aware that I've broken my wrist are maybe a little bit curious as to how this wonderful thing happened. Typing it out is kind of annoying. I can give you like the gist, but it's just really not as good as the whole story. And to be honest, when one breaks one's wrist, one really must count on the story to carry one through the event. So, the setup. I was with my friend Matt, and we were in Portland, and we were looking to have some fun. You know, a little bit of shenanigans here and there. Being young adults that we were kind of in that mood. And we're walking around town and kind of thinking here and there, oh, that'd be fun to climb up. I wonder if we could. And there was a couple places where we scoped it out, and then at one place where we decided to climb up and have a good time and just kind of like see if we could do it. And we did, and that was good. And we moved on. Moving down on Commercial Street, when we passed the Rufus Deering Lumberyard, we were pleased to notice that there was not one keep out sign on the fence, which for all intents and purposes kind of says, hey, come on in, it's fun. So we waited until a break in traffic, and we quietly slid underneath the fence. And we proceeded to dart across the whole yard under cover of darkness and no cars. And then we like walked through the lumberyard and climbed up on stuff, and we like shimmied up this 2x4 to get on top of this roofing thing that had like, it was like covering all this material, and it was like scary and exhilarating and tons of fun. So we like climbed up on this roof thing, and then we kind of hung out for a little while, and then I said, the night's not over, we have more fun left. So we went over to the end of the fence, to the end of the roof thing, and there's like a fence, and then another fence that goes to York Street, I think. And so I hopped over this first little mesh fence, and it was kind of like a little bit of a drop, and I didn't expect it. But I was getting over the big fence, which was kind of uneven, like it was higher on one side than the other side from the ground. So I climbed up on the fence with relative ease, and the height from the other side of the fence to the ground was significantly different. And when I released my grip on the fence, I fell approximately 8 feet from what Matt says, and proceeded to fall rather heavily on my wrist and my ankle, my left ankle. And without even thinking about it, my first words were, I just broke my wrist. It was disgusting looking. It was like all, it was gross. It wasn't a compound fracture. I would have not been able to keep myself okay if it had not been a compound fracture, but it wasn't. So Matt freaked out, and I was just trying to like keep him cool, because we needed to keep cool. And if you're panicked, you're just not gonna get anything done. And I was okay enough to walk for the time being, so I was just like, don't call the ambulance, we'll just walk. We're close to a hospital, it's just like a few blocks away, we'll be fine. The ambulance won't be able to get here any faster than we'll be able to walk. And we probably won't get into the emergency room fast anyway. So we're walking down York Street, I think, and then we went down Spring, and I was just limping, and my ankle was just getting worse. So right in front of the Civic Center, I was like, I can't go any further. So I had him call the ambulance. I just plopped down on the pavement, and like 5 minutes later, the ambulance showed up, and they walked out, and they said, and I figured keep it casual, keep it cool, because I'm not gonna make anything better by panicking and freaking out and being like all huffy and teary and stuff. So they came out of the ambulance, and I was like, hey, how's it going? And they asked me how I was doing, and I said, well, I'm hurting a little bit, as I clutched my horribly swollen and disgusting looking wrist. And I hobbled into the ambulance, and they sat me down on the gurney thingy, and they made a splint out of a pillow, and they shot me up with some nice little stuff. It wasn't really that great, but it was for freebie, it wasn't bad. And hauled me up to the hospital, Mercy, and Matt and I got into the hospital, and we got in really fast, and I filled out paperwork a little bit, just kind of kept it casual with the staff, which I'm sure they appreciated, because I wasn't like bitchy and where's my pain stuff, and where's my blah blah blah. I don't know what people ask for. I've never really done this before. And so I texted Bethany, and when I was in the ambulance, and she wasn't pleased. She was actually kind of pissed, because I was just so cool and casual about it. Like, oh, no big deal. Just on my way to the hospital, I broke my wrist. Blah blah blah. You know, just the usual, I suppose. And so I went into X-ray, and that's when I found out that I broke both my radius and my ulna, and chipped a bone on the side, like that little nubbin, like on the side. I broke that, or I chipped it rather. So that was fantastic. I pretty much demolished myself. And got out of X-ray. Bethany was there, and with those, like that kind of vacillating between, I'm so glad you're okay, and don't you ever do that again. So we hung out for a while, and I used that term kind of loosely. And then the nurse came around and was like, okay, well, we're going to give you some more medicine because we're going to have to, I can't remember what the technical term was, like the actual medical term, but the word they used was yank, like yanking on my broken appendage. So that was when the coolness for me stopped. I stopped being all cheery. Like, that's when it came over me in a big way. I was no longer happy-go-lucky. I broke my wrist, but I'll be fine. I was like, they're gonna yank on my bones, and it's gonna hurt. So I got some really good medicine, and I was feeling pretty good, but I knew what was gonna happen next. And so the time came for them to yank, and I've never in my life have felt pain that severe before. It was really bad. And I felt bad for Matt and Bethany because all they could do was just like watch me writhe and be in tremendous pain. But Bethany sang, and Matt kind of did a little bit of a jig, which was nice. Although I couldn't see because my eyes were clenched very tightly because I was forcing back the tears. But then the yanking was done eventually after like a small eternity, and I got the cast put on, which I like bruised Bethany's hand because I was squeezing it so hard when that was happening. But that's what best friends are for. I got my cast and just kind of hung tight until they got all my stuff together, and then I left. Like, I had to get ride in my car taken care of by Bethany's boyfriend, but it was an eventful night. I still maintain that it was a good time. Like, it was an adventure, and it's brought Matt and I closer, and it's brought Bethany and I closer, and it's bringing me into a whole new place where I have to learn how to deal with things with just one hand. But I'm not gonna let it keep me down. I can't play guitar at all, which really bums me out. But I'm gonna rock climb, whether people that don't want me to rock climb like it or not. I'm gonna do it. And I can drive, so that's cool as well. But yeah, that's the story. And so anybody that was curious and wanted to know what was going on, now you know. And I hope that you enjoyed that story. I hope it was as exciting as you thought it would be. Yeah, so that's it. And just as a quick note, because I didn't really mention it in any of my explanations, like through email or text or whatever, I didn't break my ankle, I just sprained it. So it's like I can walk on it. It hurts a little bit, but it's gonna be fine. It'll just take me a couple days to be like all better, but it's definitely not broken or anything like that.